only exclusively date Black women? What is that about?
It's closest to my experience. It wasn't always that way.
Mm,
I was initially really into Latinas, um, and I did have somewhat success with that but I also experienced like a lot of self hate in that community as well, in terms of like the Afro Latina community and stuff like that. And they're still fine. Don't get me wrong, they're still beautiful, but at the same time, when as I grew up, um, and I have like five older sisters, and I had more conversations with them. They confronted me on a lot of my biases, which I had to do a lot of reflection after that. But then I also realized when it comes to culture, that's something that I really hold dear to me. Um, if I'm thinking about my future and I want to be able to extend my family's legacy in terms of like the language, the way that we do things, the way that we think and stuff like that, it's going to be easier with someone who at least looks more like them or is closer to their complexion or the things that they deal with. And I think that's a strong part of it, like just being able to share the same experiences and not have to explain certain things um, takes a load off. Like having to explain like a culture difference in itself is already difficult, but then also having to not share the same experiences because of race, that may be difficult as well. Now, granted, in a lot of like Latino families and stuff like that, you still have Black people there. However, there's also a lot of resistance or prejudice towards darker skinned people. So then you would still have to deal with something in that regard as well. And that's for almost every other race except for Black people. There seems to be a prejudice across all countries, across all continents, against darker skinned people within that community. So it's just like regardless of wherever you go, you're still going to face some sort of prejudice. And even amongst Black people, there's still prejudice with colorism. So like there's a lot of different barriers that I would have to hop and jump across just to be able to achieve some sort of success with a relationship. And that's not to say it's impossible. I'm just saying those things make it harder when I consider the future family that I want.
mm.
So apart from even the beauty that I see within Black women, I just see so many more advantages because there's a lot less resistance to the type of successful relationship that I would want as well.
Mm, okay. Before we go, just because the audience is, because again, I'm from UK, so I think the uh, ethnic breakdowns are slightly different. They said obviously there's Latina Black and Latina White. So when you say you date a Latina, do you mean Latina White or Latina Black?
I
Just
did,
asking.
I talked to a Latino white in
Okay.
my middle school, high school years, and though it was very interesting, I didn't like it too much. It was messy. It was messy.
It's
Let's
messy.
say let's just call it. It was messy. Not
Mm,
necessarily because they didn't like me, but more because of like familial issues and stuff like that.
okay, we'll revisit that. Sean, yourself, you said obviously you've dated Latina before as well. Let me start
Hmm.
off with that question and then go back slightly into the question I asked David a little bit earlier on. Um, so did you date Latina White, Latina Black? Just to give a bit of perspective.
Black.
Okay, so Latina Black, fantastic. Okay, I guess that kills their argument off then. 'Cause, they were hoping for you to have Latina White. Just saying. But for you, obviously,
And to be clear, Dominican Republic, just so they understand the context. So
love that. Thank
definitely
you.
nothing white about people in Dominican Republic.
They're waiting to hit you with that stick, bro. So you obviously said you are prefer your preference is Black, but you're open. So I want to ask you the question: why are you open rather than being solely exclusive? What for you is your kind of thinking behind that?
Well, for me, I feel like I don't want to close off my options to who could be my next potential wife or girlfriend, right? Because she can come in many shades and forms. So I don't want to. Hold on one second.
I think he had a little sign come up. He'll come back in a second. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying the conversation. Uh, you know, we're trying to dive in deeper. Do you know what I mean? Get some perspective, get some understanding. You know what I mean? Sorry about that, Sean. Yeah. Whenever you're ready, bro, you flow.
Yeah, my bad on that.
That's right, bro.
So I think that at the end of the day, I would rather not close my options off to who my potential woman could be. Now, I'm not out here looking for, and that's why I said my preference is that the next woman that I'm with be a woman of color, a black woman. That is my preference. But who's to say she won't be
Mm,
another race?
mm.
That's how I see it.
Love that. Love that. Like hearing that. Corey, you said obviously yourself at the moment you're exclusive, but that's conditional. It sounded like. So for you, why is it conditional for you in that sense? Then.
Okay, so for me, I would say that it has a lot to do with feedback that I hear, right?
Mm,
So I think I'm at a point personally where I'm tired of being kind of lumped in with everyone else. Unless you know me personally, I'm tired of hearing, black men are no good. When that whole the drawing about looping everybody together, that's a problem for me. So the way I see it is that if you pay attention to a man and his values, his worth, what he has to offer, stop letting good men go by. And I know the term good man is, it can be subjective. So when I say a good man, I want to get that across is that I mean a man who is going to be loyal to you. He's respectful and he is dedicated to doing things that are going to make you happy lifelong for the long term. So that's what I mean by a good man. But sometimes that's not good enough. And it gets to a point where it seems that it's very, very picky about what kind of man you want to have in your life. So I'm all about, wanting to date black women exclusively. My reason for that